What's up, guys? My name is Dr. Christopher Janney. You can just call me Chris. I'm a neuroscientist. I have a PhD in neuroscience. My full-time job is looking at things related to neurodegenerative disease and brain health. So that's where my research is focused. I work for a small nonprofit in South Florida, and that's our main target, is trying to help people to prevent neurodegenerative disease. I served time in the United States Navy at the end of the 90s, beginning of the 2000s, and been around guns since I was young. Obviously spent time in the United States military. I am not an operator. I've never been an operator. I'm not claiming to be an operator. I want to make that very clear. I was never a ground soldier. I was on a ship. I did a one tour, one deployment, and that was the extent. I was on a visit board search and seizure team, so I did do some tactical training, but I'm not making any claims here that I was out here busting terrorists and things like that. However, what I do say is that I really enjoy shooting, and I love the challenge that it presents, and I'm interested in the skills that it takes, and how does that help us. And one of the things that's become of interest to me is how things like shooting, whether it's long distance, whether it's running drills, things like this, how can that help people who are dealing with things such as Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's disease? Can their brains be adjusted by taking on these kinds of fine motor activities and those kinds of things? I think that there's evidence to say yes. I'm interested to dig into it, and I've started coming up with ideas for how I want to do some research, and there's some cool things that I'd like to do where I think I could do it on video. I could break out my own guns. I want to do some interviews, take some people shooting and talk about some of the things that they're experiencing, and then also talk about their research or their experience with just brain health in general. So I'm approaching all of this from kind of a different angle. I also love to fish and hunt and hike and camp and all those kinds of things. So I want to take all of the things that I love and then look at it from a neuroscience perspective, and how do these different things help us. And obviously I'm no longer the young guy that I once was, and so I look at this, I'm 42 now, and I think about my own brain health and my own physical health and how all of these things play together, especially with what I do. The guy that I work for predominantly is a neurologist. His brother is a neurologist also, and so I work for both of them. So I do the science side of things, they do the medicine side of things for the most part, and so that's where I get to see both sides of it and really get a different picture. So I'm hoping that this channel and what I'm trying to do with Brain and Barrel is to bring that to the forefront and hopefully help give a different perspective that perhaps isn't out there right now. I want to do some things where we're talking about what actually happens in the brain when you're running drills, or the time between what goes from your eye through your brain down to your finger. Those are things that I find super interesting about how our brain interacts with our body and the time that it takes. And then talking about stressful situations, so those that are in those high stress situations, like military operators or CIA or police, or those are things where not everybody is going to experience them, but if it does happen, it's kind of interesting to see what that's about. I'm hoping to be able to go do some long range shooting. That's something I've gotten into, and I really enjoy the science of shooting, as well as trying to understand how do we make ourselves perform better in that. How does our brain work for us and against us in that? So that's the premise behind Brain and Barrel, is that I want to be able to take the two things that I love, which is brain science and then all the shooting and the outdoors and the guns and all these kinds of things, and throw them together, and then hopefully share some of that with you guys, because it's stuff that I find interesting. You may or may not find it interesting. Hopefully you do. So if you're thinking that you might be interested, I'd love for you to go ahead and subscribe, share with your friends, and then hopefully we'll have more coming up. Likewise, brainandbarrel.com. The link is in my profile. I hope to be able to put a lot of things there, some really good resources for making sure that not only are you physically healthy, but then how do you keep your brain healthy, and then how those things kind of connect with each other. So hopefully I'll get to share a lot of this with you guys. I'm really excited for the possibilities, and this is just hopefully the first of many videos. Thanks, and I wish you all the best. Have a good day.